Hey everybody, it's Sophie and Marco here, and we are doing our last review for Hallmark Christmas Week. I have a couple of announcements. One is I had one more Hallmark movie that Shirley from Streetsboro, Ohio recommended. It's called Christmas in Love, and I tried and tried to find it, and I could not get to it. Um, if a movie comes out, it's only on YouTube for a couple of days and then it disappears. And I've not been able to watch it, so I can't comment or review a movie. Although she highly recommends it, I can't comment on it or review it or recommend it if I've never seen it. So that will be put off later. And then the movie that we're doing today is called Christmas Chronicles, and it is a Netflix movie that did come out over the holidays this year, or 2018. And Marco will be reviewing that today. And the reason why I had him review this movie, one, it's brand new, it's very popular, and I thought he might like it. And the other Hallmark movies that I looked up, and I looked up quite a few of them. They put out a lot, and I just didn't see any notable ones that he would be interested in watching because they're very oriented towards romance, and
so very girly,
and they're also very female oriented. So I just didn't think he'd care to watch them, and I'm not going to waste his time. So I thought he would like to watch this movie. It's not very long. It's fun, and well, I'll tell what I think of it later. But what's interesting about this movie is Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, who are longtime partners. They're Mr. and Mrs. Claus, and their son Oliver Hudson plays the father of the two kids. He plays Doug Pierce, and his wife is played by Kimberly Williams Paisley, who's been in quite a few Hallmark movies. And Judah Lewis and Darby Camp play brother and sister Kate and Teddy Pierce. So it's a good thing Marco is going to do the review.
Judy.
It's a good thing that Marco is doing the review because I got the coughing sickness again, and I've been coughing a lot. So go ahead, Marco.
Well, this movie is about a brother and sister and a mother, and they have a troubled relationship because their father passed away for an unknown reason. I'm not going to spoil that reason because I feel like they keep it a secret until the end of the movie. They kind of leave you in suspense and then reveal it at the end of the movie. So it's about the brother and sister, and there's a lot of stuff that has to do with videotaping, and the little sister has a video camera she likes to record. So there's a lot of that in the movie. She's recording the whole thing, and basically they meet up with Santa Claus somehow, and they go on an adventure to save Christmas because they accidentally crash his sleigh, and they have to get the presents back to him so that he can deliver them. And this movie, I was expecting not to like it as much as I did because of the quality of Netflix movies is very low. There's a lot of Netflix movies, and they're basically like straight to DVD movies, like Bright from last year with Will Smith. That movie, it was good for the first watch, but then it really sucked when you realize the sort of political agenda they're trying to do, and also it was just kind of stupid. And then there's a movie called The Babysitter that was pretty good, but still straight to DVD quality. And So with this movie, it really hinged on whether Kurt Russell worked or not as Santa Claus. And he did. He was the best part of the movie. Excuse me. There's a scene where he went around uh, knowing people and telling them their names and everything and what they want for Christmas, and that was really cool. And I think that Kurt Russell is the perfect choice to play Santa. He's almost like better than he's the Santa that you want to go on an adventure with, compared to all the other Santas that you just want to kind of sit there and say hi Santa and then not be with him. This Santa's very cool. He's the cool Santa. He can sing the blues, and he can help you. He was okay with stealing a car and going on it like a joyride because he's the cool Santa. The acting in this movie is pretty good. There are a lot of issues with the movie though, and a lot of those issues are because of the writing. And the writing for this movie is very Netflix movie-ish. And what I mean by that is the little sister has a line that is literally, excuse me again, God, the little sister has a line that's literally, uh, oh, I'm sick of you being with your gangster friends all the time. That's literally a line from the movie. And that's a very bad line. That's just one example. Very, very obvious lines. Lines that are like spoon feeding you things. Like there's a lot at the beginning of the movie. The people constantly say, "Oh, that's cookies. Oh, that's what Dad liked." And very obvious writing like that. And then of course you have a sad moment. You had tons of that at the beginning. It's very obvious what they're trying to do. And so again, Kurt Russell really steals the movie away. And that's a good thing because if Kurt Russell wasn't in this movie would suck completely. So, what do you think, Safi?
Well, I really loved the movie, and I've actually seen it 3 times. This will be the third time, and I saw it over the holidays 2 times. That's when I was really sicker than a dog, and I was just watching countless Christmas movies trying to uh, be human because I felt so awful.
This is funnily enough, this is actually the only Christmas movie I've watched for 2018 Christmas. What happened was someone in the kitchen played the Christmas movie so loud that I could hear them all the way from in here, and so I just didn't want to watch them because I have a very photographic, detailed memory, and it's very it spoils the experience for me to remember everything so easily and not be able to have any sort of surprises.
Well, unfortunately, Marco's father had this sickness too, but he couldn't hear and he couldn't speak. So when he watched anything, he'd have to turn the TV up full blast.
I don't think they can hear you, by the way.
He had to turn the TV up very loudly so he could hear it, even though he was sitting
Yeah.
right next to it. And so, anyway, I loved the movie just because it was, and I thought Kurt Russell was great, and I loved the surprise at the end where Goldie Hawn shows up and she's his real partner, and they're so much in love, and they just make a great couple. And I didn't realize that was her son who played the father, because he's right at the beginning. He doesn't have a big part, but he shows up several times. Marco mentioned that the little girl likes to work with the camera, the video camera. Well, they had taken videotape picture uh, movie of every Christmas. They would do a certain thing. They stand beside the tree. They wear these Christmas sweaters. So it was like every year, and so she would look through those, and so that would show their father. And I didn't recognize him at first, but anyway, I thought that was really nice, and I thought it was fun. It wasn't really long. It moved really fast. I thought it had a lot of surprises. I thought it was creative the way, there's always this mystery where how does Santa get down the chimney,
Yeah,
and of every house they don't have a chimney, don't have a fireplace,
we've
there's always.
already seen that before with that Santa Claus movie.
Yeah,
Remember that?
right. Well,
And this movie does it better, by the way.
yeah,
I
this
think
movie does it a lot
this
better.
movie is actually better than those Tim Allen Santa Claus movies, and especially the first one. And I don't like movies that are quote comedies, but they're really dramas in disguise, and that's what the first one was to me. And this movie does all that stuff a lot better.
Yeah, and then he has a bag of presents, of course. Well, the bag of presents goes all the way down to the North Pole, and the way they have them on in the bag, and it's just very creative. The ideas they came up with to explain some of these quote magical happenings. It's nice to see people's spin on that and what they come up with. I thought it was very
My
creative.
favorite thing was how he was able to pull stuff out of his jacket,
Yeah,
like
there's
pull
that
toys,
too.
pull new inventions out of his jacket. That was cool. It's like he's a real master toy maker. You can just make them appear in his jacket.
Yeah, and he was magical. And talking about pulling these toys out of nowhere, or guitars, or whatever, anything, any kind of present. He was good at that, and he was really good. And I just thought it was like Marco said. I think the whole movie really revolved around him, and without him, it
It
would
would have
not have been
sucked.
the same. Wouldn't have worked, I don't think, because he did it the best I've ever seen. Really, and I'm trying to think in the past,
Let's just put it
but
this way:
I liked
if
it.
it would have been like Batman Begins without Christian Bale as Batman,
Yeah,
that's what it would have been like. And another thing about this movie, I don't want to